Oh, well, it's been a while, guys. Thank you for checking in with this video. I think, maybe been 4 weeks since I've recorded anything. I had a couple of shorts go up. I was using this kind of automated AI tool to auto-publish things. But in terms of me filming, it's been well over a month. Um, I've just been studying. You know, my life is very simple. I have a very big exam in exactly 1 week and 1 day, and my goal has just been to pass it. You know, it's not that fun studying for an exam. I guess there are nice elements and not nice elements, and I'll talk a bit about them. But I just want to really not have to redo this exam again. And uh, the kind of expression you hear a lot as a psychiatry registrar is, if you've never failed an exam before, it's the college exams that'll get you. So the pass rates aren't that high. So you got to take them very seriously. And that's what I'm doing. I have studied a lot. So I thought I'd do a little video now, check in, give a bit of a life update, and maybe talk a bit about a plan moving forward in the next 6 months. I guess it's been a really big year, and there's a lot. I was just thinking there's actually a couple of things worth reflecting on. From a professional side, uh, I've been a registrar working in psychiatry for a whole year now, which is uh, a dynamic time. A lot changes from your first day as a psychiatry registrar to kind of getting it and being in the flow and being, 1 year older as a doctor. I've bought a house. I'm in it right now. This is not a great. I just realized this is not a great representation of the house because there's actually a power outage. So if the audio sounds a bit weird, I'm using a different setup. Everything is battery powered right now, so my light isn't working, and I'm using natural light. But hey, when it comes to YouTube, you just got to hit record. You can't wait for everything to be perfect, as they say. So anyway, I bought a house in the last year, so that's very big. And another big thing is this channel has really, grown solidly. I just looked in the analytics. It was 20,000 subscribers 1 year ago, and now it's almost 80,000 subscribers. And it's still growing even when I'm not publishing videos, which is pretty. It's kind of like I don't control this thing. And that's right, I don't control this thing. All I can control is making videos and doing my best. I can't control who watches it and whatnot. So I do have lots of goals, refocusing on YouTube and publishing lots of videos in the next 6 months. But first, it's passing the exam. So, I thought I'd do a little reflection. And when I make plans with patients about what we're going to do to improve their mental health or treat their mental illness, we follow the biopsychosocial approach. And that's really the biological stuff, which is the physical health, um, and all the things that come with that. Then there's the psychological stuff, which is the way of thinking and all the things that go along with that. And then there's the social stuff, which is everything else. So it's multifaceted. But in terms of me, I'm 29. So biologically, I'm getting older. And I don't know how old you are, but 29 is an interesting year. I kind of think the whole entire role of the age of 29 is mentally preparing to be in your 30s. I remember going through an existential crisis when I think it was probably 27, and I was like, "Oh, I'm no longer early 20s, no longer really mid 20s. 27, 28, you get in there. And time just really goes in one direction. You just get older. So that hit me pretty hard. But this whole year I've been kind of, you know, preparing to be 30 and to be in my 30s, which maybe for some people is not a big deal, but it is for me, I guess. And that's probably to do with the fact that I just loved being in my early 20s. I just had so much fun. It was such a good time. It was carefree, and it was parties, and it was fun. And now, late 20s, it's really more sensible. and more responsible. And that's okay. That's that's the journey. That's the next stage of development that I'm going towards. But part of me still holds on to wanting to be, a young, silly guy drinking too much and going out and dancing all night. So anyway, I'm 29. But with that, I guess, reflection on the impending, or I guess the inevitability of getting older, I've really gotten into a lot of health things. So, and listening to lots of health podcasts. So I listened to a lot of Andrew Huberman and Peter Attia, and I've taken on a lot of advice. And I'll definitely kind of make videos about my summation of everything I've listened to and my own spin on things that hopefully my patients or you will find useful in terms of diet and exercise. But I'm exercising, well, I wanted to say every day, but again, today's not a good example. I haven't exercised today, but I will. And my VO2 max is the highest I think it's ever been. It's 54 point something, but I want to keep getting it higher. And if for those who don't know, VO2 max is just a really good indicator of your cardiorespiratory fitness, I guess. How efficiently your heart is beating and moving blood, and you absorbing oxygen, and your cells using that oxygen. How efficient it all is. But we can talk more about that in another video. So I think it's the highest it's ever been. So my fitness state is very high. I'm still a little bit chubby, and that's all right. I eat a lot, but I feel good. I think the main focus on my fitness in my early 30s will really be around stability and flexibility, because I'm stiff. I've crap joints. It's very common. Everyone's got a joint that's busted. So that'll be a big focus in my early 30s, and maybe soon I'll get into it. But at the moment, it's still really about building muscle and jogging. I've just really gotten into jogging. I'm doing 10Ks twice a week in runs. I don't go fast, but I jog. So I think I'm happy with kind of that part of my physical health. I guess that's exercise, but diet's very important. And I feel I've gotten a really good diet. I'm just thinking maybe the goal of the 20s is to set up your 30s, to set up your processes. So I've got my exercise routine down. That took me a decade, basically. And now I've formed a diet. Like I follow a diet, like my diet. And it's really healthy. It's really varied, and I have lots of protein and lots of different healthy foods in it. So I'm really stoked on my diet. I do eat a lot of chocolate. Every day I probably eat some chocolate. So there's definitely opportunities to improve it if I wanted to be a perfectionist. But I'm not a perfectionist. If someone was like, I'll give you 100 grand if you get a six pack in 6 months, I think I could do it because I know what I would have to cut out. But no one's given me 100 grand. So it's a really good diet. I will make a video on my diet because I think it's really useful, and it's all Tupperware based. So I make all of my meals in an hour and 10 minutes or so on a Saturday morning, and then I'm sorted for the next 7 days, which is really fun. It's fun. It's really good, and it's kind of satisfying to just have lots of Tupperware, and then you never have to think about your next meal. You just know. Like I know right now my next meal is my tuna salad. Yeah, so that's my physical state, I guess. Yeah, I'll talk about more about the other stuff later. But then the psychological. Well, I think my mood's pretty good. I'm a bit. No, I don't feel too stressed. I feel the right level of stressed. You know the Yerkes-Dodson curve. You might have heard of that. That's when the more stressed you. Well, there's a. I guess it's the curve, which is kind of parabolic, not parabolic. It's kind of like a normal distribution curve. It goes up and then down. As stress increases, your performance increases. But then, if stress keeps increasing, then your performance decreases. So, in terms of my stress levels, I think I'm at a level that's letting me perform well. And the main source of my stress is probably this exam in a week and 1 day. Who's counting? And it's a big exam. It's 190 minutes. It's so many questions, and every single time I did exams, it's a multiple choice exam, but every time I did exams as a university student and a high school student, I finished with hours to, not hours, I finished with a lot of time to spare. I was a quick thinker, and I don't know if I was a quicker thinker then and now I've slowed down, very possibly. But now when I'm doing the mock exams for this thing, I have like 5 minutes to spare over the, and it's a 100, I think 90-minute exam. It's a 190-minute exam, and I'm finishing in 185 minutes. Is that right? 140 plus 40 plus 10. Yeah, 190. So I'm like on the nose. Like it is so. I do not have any time to daydream, and I do find myself daydreaming a lot. It's very very hard now as I'm getting older to focus for such a long period of time. Fortunately, the next exams in the psychiatry training program are not as long, but yeah, this one is long. So the study is going well, but very intense. I'm actually on study leave right now, which is an awesome thing that this health service gives the training doctors, the trainees, the registrars. We have 2 weeks per year to basically just become full frickin' study geeks. It's just all day I'm just studying. And I was telling people that I was kind of, I was complaining. I was saying, oh, I don't want to study for some extrinsic reason, following someone else's curriculum. I want to study what I'm interested in. But to be fair, I get it now. I have had that sense that the past 6 to 8 months of study that I've done has kind of come together in this state that I'm in, where just like, this might be the most I ever know, and then it'll just deteriorate because I just have studied so much. But because I have felt that I don't know what the word is, maybe studying finesse or efficiency has decreased, my compensatory behavior has just been to do incredibly hard work. Like I study so much, like for this exam. So if I don't, and if I don't pass, I'll be open about that. I'll make a video talking about it, and that's a possibility. Uh, it's not always the case that just working harder gets you to pass exams, but I think I've been relatively efficient, so I feel okay about it. It's not a sure thing, but I think it's a probable thing. I think it's more likely than not that I pass it. But who knows? The variability in pass rates of these exams go up and down. So that's my mood and my stress. And then, yeah, I just also wanted to note that I've been feeling a little bit of guilt around not doing as much YouTube, which is interesting. There's been a lot of YouTubers that have made, recent videos about quitting YouTube or downturning their production intensity, and publishing less videos. And it's a lot of big ones, with millions of subscribers. They were operating with teams of 20 people, and then now they're going down to a team of 3. So that's interesting. I don't, YouTube has always been part-time for me. It's never been anything I was at risk of burnout with. But I kind of didn't think that anyone would care that I'm not producing videos, so I didn't think to make a video being like, I'm going to take a break. And so I didn't. But if anyone's noticed, the reason I've taken a break is to study for exams. Oh, I did post a post about it, that I was studying, and I'll come back to YouTube after the exam. So anyway, you do just get a sense of guilt because I don't have a boss. It's just up to me. I'm my own, I'm my own driver for this. And I also think that I have a lot of potential to do a lot of good in YouTube. I think in terms of the amount of good that I do in my life/career, the proportion that comes from YouTube will be substantial, because treating YouTube just as part-time, just on the side, it's been so, well, I consider it successful. My style of making videos and talking has resonated with a substantial number of people. So once I take it, well, I do take it seriously, but once I take it more seriously, and I feel I have the expertise to make more content, because it's a a very common thing to have that kind of imposter syndrome. But I'm not a psychiatrist, so I am. Well, if I was trying to be an expert in the field, then that would be me being an imposter, because I'm not an expert in the field, but I can share what I'm learning, and that's what I try and do in my videos. I try and share what I've been learning about, and sometimes I'm wrong, and that's kind of actually for me very helpful, because when I get helpful, constructive criticism and reviews on how I'm talking about something, that makes me a better doctor. And maybe that's selfish or something, but a big point of YouTube is to make me a better doctor. So like, that's what I want. So if you guys have any feedback, please let me know. This, I know this is a longer video and it's just me ranting, but you can just skip it if you're not happy. And then the final is the social. So we've talked about biological and psychological, and the last is social. The reason I'm looking down is just because I've got my laptop with notes. And just a pause here. First of all, thank you for watching. If you are, well, I take it you are if you're listening to this. This is really therapeutic for me. This is kind of my psychotherapy, and I find this really helps my study. If I can kind of write down a journal of what's on my mind, I get it out of my mind and onto paper, and that way it clears my head so that I can go back to study. But so thank you for listening to this video if you are. I know it's not going to be many people who stay around, but I appreciate it nevertheless. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Anyway, socially, okay. So yeah, lots has happened in the social domain of my life. In social stuff we talk about housing, we talk about job and career and all that sort of thing. And I've got a house. That's amazing. And in my house, it's just me and my partner. And so we have more space than I've ever had as an adult. Living in Sydney, it was shoebox living. Okay, it was shoebox living compared to this, at least. And I've got a gym here, and I will be making videos about exercise. I'd love to give you guys a tour, but yeah, I'll definitely show you guys the gym. And I've got my drum kits. You might be able to see my electric one here. I've also got an acoustic mini kit, like a little pocket kit, I guess you could call it. And I've been loving playing drums again. And shout out to the band Zuko, who I've been jamming with. Zuko is an awesome band. ZUKO full stop. Check them out on Spotify. What's a really nice song of theirs that I think people would enjoy listening to? Go listen to Panic and Joy on whatever streaming service you use. It's a really nice song and very fun to play on drums too. So what else? So that's the drums, that's the house, and finances pretty stable. YouTube's starting to pay, so I make like $1.5 grand a month just from YouTube, which is pretty cool. And it was a bit more, and then it's kind of gone down, and just now it hovers around 1.5 grand a month, which is just amazing. So I'm feeling really grateful. I want to be very open with finances in my life. So if you guys want a video on how much does a doctor make and how much is YouTube paying, I could definitely do that. That'd be fine. Just let me know if you're interested in the comments. And yeah, I think the last thing I wanted to talk about socially was about being a registrar for a year. Yeah, I've definitely sensed that I've grown clinically. I've developed a bit more clinical maturity as a doctor. I I definitely still have things to work on. I get way too confident way too quickly because I want things to be simpler than they are. And that's definitely something I'm working on, to have a bit more uncertainty and manage uncertainty. I think a big job of psychiatrists is managing uncertainty, because we don't understand, well, there's a lot we don't understand about the brain, and we're full-time working on the brain. So we have to manage the uncertainty of the science and the uncertainty of the patients and the anxiety that creates, as well as and we're managing everyone's anxiety, not only the patients, but ourselves. When you go to see a healthcare practitioner who can't, and you're distressed, that generates some level of anxiety in the practitioner. So you have to monitor that in yourself. But also there's institutional anxiety, you know, when do you let someone have leave if they've just beaten someone up because of a psychosis? You know, how much risk is the institute? So it's managing anxiety. So I need to get better at tolerating anxiety and managing it, and less. I guess maybe I'm a little bit absolutist, or like simple. Yeah, I think I just try and simplify things because that's my personality. Where really complex problems have complex solutions. That being said, the fact that I'm aware of that bias in myself means that I do work harder to make sure I don't do it, if that makes sense. Yeah. And yeah, I think I've enjoyed being a adult psychiatrist. Like I feel like I'm in the right career area, yeah, which is a very nice feeling to have. And so right now, there's no like my existentialism radar is, or my existentialism score is quite low. But I guess that's because I have an exam in a week. So my life goal is very easy. It's just pass this exam. And then I thought then the last thing I wanted to talk about is what I'm missing at the moment. And you know, moving to Canberra and focusing on this exam and studying. And yeah, I miss a lot of my friends who have moved overseas or are interstate. I really miss a lot of my friends, and I feel not lonely. And thank goodness that I have so many lovely friends in Canberra who I do see. But maybe the last 2 months, I haven't been seeing many friends because I've been focusing on studying when I have free time. And I knew that I'd feel lonely because I'm a social person. But that's just the price I'm willing to pay for this exam. So I'm not, well, I am complaining, but I'm not, I wouldn't change it. I also miss partying. I want to go for a boogie. I haven't danced in ages. It's very important to go for a dance. And again, I'm just in study mode, so that's on hold too. Just gotta be well behaved and disciplined still. So I guess I'm bringing up those things because these are some things I'm going to kind of focus on in the when I pass exams and stuff. And then I guess the last thing is balancing the my wish that I was young again, which I think we all have to an extent, with the next step of my development, which is, well, if you look at Erik Erikson's stages of psychosocial development, I think the next stage for me is generativity, which is kind of becoming more about others and less about myself, and seeing what I can give to the world and that sort of thing. So I think another big part of my next 6 months will be YouTubing and learning and making resources and stuff. Yeah, so what else do I have on this list of things? That's basically it. The only other thing is I was thinking about making an online course. Well, I think I'll make an online course for this exam because I've studied so hard on it, and I think I learnt a lot along the way that wasn't in any resource that I could find. So I'm going to use what I've kind of found over the past 6 months to make a resource so that others can use that. And the other thing would be maybe like an online CBT program. Like it would be really good if I had if I had patients that I'm seeing and I could say, look, I think you need to do some CBT for these kind of unhealthy thinking things that you're going through. I think they're called cognitive distortions, if you want the formal term. But you know, sometimes people catastrophize, or they have black and white thinking, all or nothing thinking. So yeah, it might be good. It would be cool to have a website, and then people I'm seeing as my patients could do my online CBT course, and that would involve typing, and then we could talk about the answers. You know, so it would be kind of like eCBT. And CBT, by the way, stands for cognitive behavioral therapy. It's a form of psychotherapy with a lot of evidence around it for depression and anxiety that's characterized by these kind of cognitive distortions. Doesn't focus that heavily on emotions, unfortunately, but it's still a really good psychotherapy. But there's lots of different types. All right. Well, I feel ventilated. I feel it's all out there now. So thank you for that. Yeah, I feel really grateful to you for watching, and I hope you have a beautiful day, and I hope you get the opportunity to ventilate the way I just did, because it feels good. And as a reminder, everybody, keep a journal, write down your thoughts, keep up, the brain is for having ideas, not storing them. So if you're ruminating, if you're thinking, if something's bubbling away, put it on paper, get it in a linear left to right direction, and fill that page up. Fill that page up. That's a nice motto for journaling. It's got a Ronnie Coleman vibe to it, Like, wait, fill that page up. Talk about testosterone fueling journaling. All right, I'm rambling. Bye, guys.